who is excited for Season 7 of Game of Thrones. This is my FX makeup tutorial recreating Sir Gregor Clegane, aka The Mountain, after his changes. The original amazing prosthetic work is by Barry Gower's studio, and for my makeup today I'm going to be using molds by Prosthetic transfer material and filling them with Prosthetic transfer paste. I will just very quickly go over how you fill these molds. So if you don't know how to sculpt or you don't know how to make molds, you can buy pre-made molds like this from Prosthetic transfer material, and I'm going to combine a few different kinds of molds and wounds to create that half rotted off face. So firstly, I grabbed the release film and I'm cutting it to the size of each of the molds. You don't have to worry about marking this one because it is released on both sides, which does really save on the headache of accidentally using the wrong side. If you've done prosthetic transfers before, you'll know what I mean. Then it really is as simple as grabbing a popsicle stick or a tongue depressor and smoothing that paste into the mold. I'm using the Prosthetic transfer material paste in the color Light Flesh. Next, I'm going to put that pre-cut out piece of release film back on top of the mold, and using my tongue depressor, I'm going to scrape it from one side to the next. This is going to push the release film into the back of the transfer material, giving us a really nice smooth back to the prosthetic to work with, and also giving us really thin edges all the way around the prosthetic, so that when we apply it, it will blend into the skin really easily. Thinner edges are way better for application than thicker edges. Once I have filled all of my molds, I'm going to put them onto a flat surface. I usually just use a cutting board. And then I'm going to place them into my freezer. This will freeze the prosthetic transfer material solid. It usually takes a couple of hours depending on how thick your molds are and how cold your freezer is. But you'll know that they're ready because they'll peel out easily. If they get stuck or if they're still mushy or liquid, it means that you need to freeze them for longer. So I put the mold upside down, and starting from one corner, I'll peel back the silicone mold until the prosthetic transfer material is released. The good thing about these PTM molds is that they are self-releasing. And then I'm going to peel off the extra layer of fleshing around the transfer and discard them. Once I've done this to all of my pieces, they need to be fully dehydrated before I can apply them. You will know that they're dehydrated because they change color and the thinner bits become transparent. You can do this on a really low setting in a food dehydrator, or you can leave them out on a tabletop or on a windowsill for a couple of weeks to fully dehydrate. To begin the makeup application process, I'm going to make sure that my model's skin is clean. I'm going to start by applying this prosthetic transfer to the forehead. So I push it into my transfer paper, remove the acetate backing, and then I'm ready to apply it onto Clint's face. Since prosthetic transfers are self-adhering, all I need to do is push it onto the skin, and then using a wet paper towel, I will activate the release paper, which will slide off, leaving my prosthetic transfer in place. I continue applying my transfers around Clint's face, mostly concentrating them on the right side of his face, but we do have a couple in the lower half of his left face as well. We also apply one to his neck and one to his ear. I have my amazing friend Kate here helping me with the application. And after we have most of the prosthetic transfers down, we blend around the edges with a tiny bit of isopropyl alcohol on a cotton tip just to smooth out any edges that are looking too visible. The next step is putting a mattifying sealer over all of the prosthetic transfers. We're using Bluebird's matte sealer here, thinned down with some isopropyl alcohol. What this will do is it will seal off the prosthetic transfer so that they are no longer sticky to the touch, and it will also take away the shine of the prosthetic transfers, making them look more like skin. So you can see here the effect that the mattifying sealer has, but the color is a little bit too dark for Clint's face, so we're going to go in with some alcohol paints and color correct that now. Once we've lightened up the color of the transfers, we're going to lighten all of Clint's face using alcohol activated paints in an airbrush. It doesn't have to be super even just because that rotted skin tone isn't an even coloring. Now we're going in with the airbrush, doing some vein detailing and some discoloration using this pinky purple alcohol color. Then we started coloring inside the wounds. We started off with a fleshy pink color, deepening it with some dried blood colors in the center. And then using some colors from the Necromania palette, Kate added those really gross rotting colors. So we used mainly Vile Bile, which is kind of an off yellow, some Darth Moss, which is a greeny grey brown, Lividity, which is a cool toned purple, and then the dried blood color from the effects palette as well. We also used similar colors to extend out the rotted colors from just the prosthetics, so it doesn't matter if there was or wasn't a dent there, we were adding these little kind of dents and rotted pieces around just to make the whole thing look a bit more cohesive. Next, I added a little bit of cream colors around his eyes just to emphasize the eye bags and put a little bit of discoloration on the eyelids as well. To finish the paintwork, we did one more airbrush layer using that purpley capillary tone. And our final airbrush layer is a really pale light flesh tone, which we did similar vein patterns across the face with, again to break up the color and give that interesting rotten discoloration. To make the inside of the wounds look a bit more gooey and gross, we put some KY jelly just on the internal parts of those face wounds. This also helps to differentiate the inside from the outside, as the outside is more matte and then the inside is quite glossy and gooey looking. We also made the KY jelly into pus by mixing in a little bit of yellow and white face paint into the KY jelly and then putting this inside the rotten wounds. So this is our finished makeup look. We did try and put some Krylon red eye blood into his eyes to mimic the bloodshot eyes of the mountain in the show, but what we found is it's quite hard to keep it inside the eyes. The eyes naturally tear up and then it drips down the face quite quickly. So if you wanted to recreate the blood inside the mountain's eyes, I would recommend using contact lenses or using Photoshop like I have done here. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any feedback, any questions, or any ideas for what I should do next, please leave me a comment in the comments section, and I will be back soon, hopefully. All right, bye guys.